Hello there everybody, WhatCulture Wrestling's Adam Cleary here. Yes, we are back again for a second news installment because there is just so much wrestling going on this week that there is too much to fit into the tiny brains and slightly less tiny mouths of both Adam Wilborn and Andy Murray. But coming up for you today, we have a little story about Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar.
It's been revealed when CM Punk will be returning to WWE backstage, and we've also got a bit of a weird thing that's going on with one of WWE's producers on Twitter.
Yes, Gareth is here as well, but of course coming up first, we have the little story. It's that time of year again when Forbes have released their big list of the best paid wrestlers in the world today, or certainly the ones in WWE. And the top 10 might surprise you in some regards. I'm just going to recount them from 10 to 1. And Gareth, you could give me a noise which sort of reacts to both their placement in the list and the amount of money they make. That would be greatly appreciated. So number 10, Braun Strowman, currently making $1.9 million. In 9th, Stephanie McMahon making $2 million.
Right.
In 8th, Shane McMahon making $2.1 million.
Right.
I bet that gets brought up over the Christmas dinner table. Number 7, Bill Goldberg making $3 million.
Boo!
In 6th, Becky Lynch making $3.1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Triple H, $3.3 million. Seth Rollins, $4 million.
What?
Yeah, your top 3 now. Randy Orton, $4.1 million.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, $5 million. And I'm sure you've noticed there's been a very steady, gradual progression up here from low 2 millions up to $5 million now, of course. So that just jumps ahead slightly. Brock Lesnar in first place with $10 million.
Right, so WWE just giving him all the money.
Yeah, all the money in the world. This is actually quite interesting because Becky Lynch's inclusion in this list makes her the first full-time female wrestler to make the top 10. Ronda was in it last year, but she wasn't considered a full-time employee, which is, of course, why John Cena isn't in this list, because apparently he's not considered a full-time employee either, despite the fact that Goldberg is, and you could even argue that Brock Lesnar is, because his schedule is not what you would call particularly grueling. Gareth, you surprised by any of these figures?
Yeah, but I'd say I probably shouldn't be, but I'm a little bit surprised by how high Shane McMahon is on that, because obviously I get it, he's got such a massive role in the company, but in terms of that, you'd think they'd be putting more of an onus on the active in-ring, but you'd like to hope they were putting more of an onus on the active in-ring performers. Like, that's why it's awesome seeing Becky where she is. That's why I got my best response to that entire thing there. But in terms of Brock, it's just hilarious how far ahead Brock Lesnar actually is. Is that double? Is he more than double number 2?
Brock Lesnar is more than double Roman Reigns at present in number 2. Yes, Brock Lesnar is more on that list than any 2 people, and you could even get, I think, 5 in the same amount of money you could get him for.
It's just, and then you look at the actual obligations of the likes of Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch, all these people who are there all the time doing all these media appearances, putting in the graft. And then they've just gone, yeah, Brock Lesnar, pay-per-view, shh.
Well, as you've succinctly touched upon then, the argument for this amount of money is just because, well, Brock Lesnar, he is their only remaining big special attraction. I think the most interesting thing about it is that Triple H, Shane and Stephanie managed to get on this, even though they're not active performers full-time, and yet Vince doesn't. So does that mean that he doesn't consider himself ever going to work in the wrestling ring again? That's quite sad.
Yeah, potentially, but I just think, as a whole, the biggest shocks there, definitely Becky, a pleasant shock in Becky. Probably Braun as well, actually, getting in that top 10, it's quite nice to see. He'll probably get a bit of a bump up now, being the Universal Champ. And Brock Lesnar just being such a massive disparity between that, between 2nd and 1, that's insane, all the money. So I think it's about time we now talk about what's going to go down this Tuesday night, or next Tuesday night, I believe. We've got the return of the voice of the voiceless himself. CM Punk is going to be returning to WWE backstage. This was announced through a little video promo on all social media, really, in regards of WWE on Fox. And it's a bit of an interesting one, because obviously you've had these the FaceTime WWE backstage episodes where they've gone through old matches. I watched the one where they went through the Undertaker Shawn Michaels match from WrestleMania 25. It's really cool. So it's going to be really interesting seeing Punk pop up in that FaceTime capacity like we're doing now. Maybe we might even see a little appearance from AJ Lee in the background. You never know. That'd be pretty amazing. What do you think of this?
Well, if we're going to get anything like Jon Moxley ambushing Renee Young, then I'm all for it. Punk's inclusion on backstage has been a bit of a weird one because it was so well covered and it was looked at so in depth and people analysed it as this first step back into the company. And really, not a lot's happened. He's had a couple of good sound bites, he's got into a few arguments on Twitter, but by and large, it doesn't really feel like, I mean, his big statement of just when they think they've got the answers, I change the culture, I wouldn't say the culture's changed even slightly in all of this, but it is good to have him on. He does make the show 10 times more watchable, and that's no disrespect to the normal panelists. It's just when CM Punk is on, there's an unpredictability to it. There's an X factor. He's not a WWE employee, and while you expect the rest of them to toe the party line, be very complimentary about their colleagues, he doesn't seem to worry about that too often. He quite happily says whatever he wants to say. So yeah, with everything going on at the minute, good to have him back, although I am cautiously optimistic about how good it's going to be.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot to say about probably everything, really. All the no-crowd shows, WrestleMania, the weirdest WrestleMania history. I want to see what he thinks about the Boneyard match, the 5-5 Fun House match. Can't say words right now, but that's going to be amazing as well. So in more social media orientated news, WWE producer Lance Storm has actually took to Twitter. He took to Twitter yesterday and he let all the WWE talents know out there right now. All those ones are probably back home self-isolating. He let them know that he's open to offering them some feedback on the matches, anything that they've had in recent history through WWE, maybe not even just recent history, maybe just throughout their entire back catalogue. He said, this is what he wrote on Twitter, he put, any WWE talent interested in detailed match feedback, DM me or text me, and then he put in brackets link/network show date. So obviously when the actual thing was that he wants to look back on. I was asked for some today, forgot how much I enjoy coaching. Those who have gotten this from me before can attest, it's more detailed than tighten up those holds. #working from home. So that's pretty cool, right? So it's cool in one sense because he's going out of his way to try and help people and obviously add more layers to the arsenal and everything else and make them just more well-rounded wrestlers, which is brilliant. But on the other side of the coin, surely something like this should already be in place. There should already be like a direct line to your producer, to your road agent. So if anything's going wrong in your matches, you can get some feedback and improve on yourselves. So it's a bit of a behind the curtain look here as to what actually goes down when it comes to improving these stars in the ring. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
I hadn't actually thought about it that way, that this should be a thing they just have ready access to all the time anyway. But we all are having to keep ourselves busy during all of this, and self-isolation is a cruel, cruel mistress if you've finished your most recent Netflix show and just think you're maybe playing with it a little bit too much. So I'm delighted for him. I think the amount of people who could start to get some feedback from Lance Storm it's not a short list at WWE at the minute. The guy knows more about putting together in-ring matches, especially we've seen some of the way matches have been put together lately. It would definitely benefit from his insight. But my only Lance Storm story is that when we were in Orlando for WrestleMania 33, we got into an Uber and the guy said, "Where are you going?" And we said, "We're going to the wrestling." And the guy went, "Oh, I've just had a wrestler in this. He was called, Lance something." And we went, "Lance Storm." And he went, "Yeah, that was him. Really boring guy." And that's my only Lance Storm story. Anyway, I have no good segue towards this, but Braun Strowman has been also talking about a recent thing. You remember when he did that match with Brock Lesnar at the Rumble and they properly stiffed each other a couple of times and we were like, they really don't like each other. He's been asked about that because obviously it was not a seminal part in his career, but certainly one of his first major title championship matches, and it's not really worked out for him in the main event picture up until last weekend, until that point, so it's still a point of contention. And he was asked what was the story behind that, why were you stiffing each other, and what was it like? And it's a really short, really interesting quote that he said, "We laughed about it afterwards. It's what it is. We got to the back and I said, 'Hey, my bad.' He said the same thing and we went about our business. We're both grown-ups. We both knew we were getting into it at the end of the day. We're both very dominant males and, brace yourself for this, neither of us wanted to give in an inch, so in the end, we took an inch from each other." And I think if he could have his time back in that interview, he would maybe reconsider some of that phrasing. Anyway, hat tip to TalkSport who got that interview out of him, because I'm going to be enjoying quoting that, ironically, for months and months to come.
Yeah, that's I kind of regret hearing that.
That inch has rocked you there.
Yeah, a little bit. To be honest, I think I watched that back recently again, and I remember watching it live as well and thinking, whoa, okay. So speaking for somebody who's very much tuned into the MMA world and everything like that, I thought if he was a heavyweight in that situation and he lands one of those knees, yeah, that's some serious pain being thrown on him there. And Lesnar definitely reacted how you'd react if you're a heavyweight in an octagon in that situation. And a lot of us off the back of that thought that Strowman had developed a bit of heat, that I don't know, he was out of favour with a lot of the WWE officials because of how he conducted himself in that main spot, that main event spot. So it's quite interesting that they went backstage and then just went, is what it is. And that pretty much just debunks that entire, not that entire theory, there were some things about him having a bad attitude and everything else, but a large portion of that stemmed from that incident. So that's, it's pouring loads of water on that just to say, okay, that didn't actually go down the way you thought it went down. So
I watched that match with some wrestlers and I went, oh my god, like what's going on there? Why are they hitting each other like that? And they went, it's nothing. First one's a mistake, the second one's the receipt. They'll be mates afterwards. And I was like, whoa, what an industry. Anyway, that is all the stories you've got today, unless Gareth, you've got any personal anecdotes you want to share.
Still bald.
Let's have a look. Come on, get it off. I know you've got your headphones on, but come on, give the people what they want.
Got a little bit of that there.
Oh, you shaved it again as well.
I did shave it again because I was getting that weird donut thing and people were commenting on it. So
yeah, I did.
I'm just a very self-conscious dude and I didn't like it. So
anyway,
thanks mate, you didn't even mention it.
I thought it was the camera. Anyway, let us know what you made of those stories and indeed Gareth's head in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Andy and Wilborn will be back tomorrow for your daily news update. We're just I'm not going to say the B team, but I'm certainly going to think it extremely loudly. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you want to get me on Twitter, you can at Adam Cleary, Clery. And Gareth, you can get at...
You can get me on GMorgan04. I realise I did not say my name at the start of this video, so yes, I am Gareth.
Thankfully, we have these little title cards. The entire WhatCulture Wrestling family at your disposal at WhatCulture WWE. But in the meantime, thank you both for watching, all two of you, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.